Later, I never thought about doing Eurovisn't, but I was so happy I was asked. Of course, there was only one person to do this with.
When Niamh told me she has been selected for Eurovisn't, I felt like the proudest dad in the world. Of course I said yes when she asked me to be the narrator. Darkness. I opened my eyes. It was dark. Not a little bit dark, like when you're still able to see your wardrobe and chair as black silhouettes in your room, and also not so dark that the only thing you see is a tiny bit of light into the door, but really dark, darker than dark, so dark that you wonder if the world quietly disappeared while you were asleep. I closed my eyes and opened them again. There was no difference. Around me could just as well have been nothing. Even the feeling of my bed underneath me was unreal. While I lay quietly, I listened to the sounds around me. At first it seemed silent, but after a while I began to notice different sounds. The tick-tock of the alarm clock, with the bells on top, which I had banished to the hall because of the noise. Rustling sounds from outside, seeping inside through the window. Some creaking from somewhere in the house, and a very quiet, barely noticeable buzz which seemed to be all around me. It was so quiet that I wondered if I really heard it or if it was just my blood rushing in my ears. When I concentrated on the buzzing sound, it seemed to disappear, but as soon as I listened to something else, I heard it again. It even seemed to become louder. Or was I imagining that? No, it was true. I did not recognize it and I wondered about the origin. Somehow it made me uncomfortable. It was clearly audible now, all around me, and slowly but surely it supplanted the other sounds. First the sounds coming from outside, until nothing reminded me of the outside, then the creaking of the house. After some time, even the ticking of the clock was no longer audible. Now the buzzing drowned all other sounds, and while I had always enjoyed being in the dark, feeling like I was able to hear the world around me twice as well, now this wasn't true anymore. Suddenly, the darkness pressed on me. It suffocated me, tried to drown me in the absence of light. By now, it wasn't really buzzing anymore, more like droning. It felt like my whole body was vibrating with the sound. I didn't feel my bed any longer. It was like I was floating around, somewhere in empty space where nothing else existed. The suffocating feeling became stronger and developed into fear, a nameless fear for nameless things, which had been lying in wait in the corners of my mind until they would be called. Now I noticed a smell that slowly floated into my nose and settled there. When I noticed it, I knew it had been there the whole time, hidden in the dark. I just hadn't noticed it before, and it had become stronger at the same time as the sound. It smelled a bit like outside and grass, but also like moldy attics and dusty cupboards. It was a smell that's always there, but you never notice. But now I noticed, and I thought it was an ominous smell. It intensified my fear while it invaded my nose and slowly spread through me until nothing else existed, nothing but the smell and the sound. Even my thoughts were slowly dispelled by the sound and the smell. Finally, that was what remained, the smell and the sound, and my fear, the only thing that wasn't dissolved in the overwhelming sound and smell. Fear, which became stronger and stronger, but never so much that it could overwhelm the sound. Never became so bad that it could keep the smell away. My nameless fear for nameless things, which became so strong that I opened my mouth and screamed, louder than I had ever screamed, louder than anybody had ever screamed. But it was still not enough to overwhelm the buzzing sound all around me. Then I felt like I was falling, faster and faster, endlessly into the deep darkness, where it was even darker than before, even when I thought it was not possible. But I could never lose the smell and the sound. Still, they were everywhere, around me, and on me, and inside me, and I fell, deeper and deeper, faster and faster, though I didn't move, and I couldn't move, because I was nothing. I disappeared in the darkness until only darkness remained without me. I opened my eyes. It was light outside, and the sun shone into my room.